course, the one that I like, talk is cheap unless you talk to a therapist, right? And I try to, whether I'm teaching or be doing a therapist, I try to make sure that I try to turn my words into tools. So people have something really practical to use for themselves. Otherwise, it's just talk. And the last one I had in the last few years, because I think I'm getting a little cynical, it's getting time for me to retire. You know, I tell my students, nobody as dumb as they look, not even me. You know? My dog ate my homework, that kind of stuff, you know. You know, all right. That didn't move. Oh, it did. I think I went too far. Okay, one of the things I focus on in the classroom is certainly healthy boundaries. You know, helping young people to manage their impulses. You know, Freud said a lot of really dumb things, but some of the things he said that was right is that we all struggle with the two impulses, is sex and aggression. And in today's society, that's really kind of under a lot of stress. Again, you sociologists refer to it as anomie. The burden of making healthy boundaries falls more and more on the person. It's not so much on the society. Society one time told us, it kind of gave us more guidelines of how to behave, what roles we should play. And now they've gotten real fuzzy and kind of, loose. And so the burden falls on us, it produces a lot of stress, and we know that stress kills. I think in terms of mortality rate, we're not even in the top 25 in this country. So, oh, thank you, okay. All right, go ahead, I'm ready. All right. Right, a general breakdown in anomie, that's Durkheim's concepts. My experience as a teacher, students today feel more alienated, marginalized, and even oppressed from academic learning statements or sometimes violent acts. So many of my students come to the classroom with a history of trauma, growing up in traumatic environments, maybe not the kind of trauma we see on TV, but the kind that I refer to as accumulative trauma. Being told slowly throughout their lives, you're stupid, you're worthless, you're ugly, whatever it is, and just little by little it just seeps in there and they grow up and they have this perspective of the view of themselves, and it's just, and so rule number 2. I know Dr. King did a great talk about social construction of reality. Unfortunately, we all laugh when Kelly and Conway talked about alternate facts. But we all know there are such a thing as alternate facts. Mm-hmm. Every semester I ask my students, did we land on the moon in 1969? And only a third raised their hands. 2/3 believe that we did it through mirrors and through special effects. That's significant only as far as trying, we're trying to educate them. We're trying to, how do you educate when you have, all right, I think you got it already. All right, thank you. All right. And this is just a model of, again, I try to go back to John Dewey, what he envisioned education was, really about preparing young people to live in today's world, to be good citizens, to have, critical thinking. I refer to it as, I try to talk to my students about the difference between being cynical and being skeptical. And when they think they're skeptical, they're really cynical. And because a lot of times they don't know the difference. And as we all know, we all know the difference. And if we get cynical, it's really hard to learn. It's really hard to learn like that. So, just take a break. All right. All right. In the 21st century, most students are in college because they have to be there. Why? The only path to a left to a decent job. One thing you talked about, and you did a great job, and I can't wait to take a lot of what I learned back to my classroom. But part of the problem, and I know it's a global one, is that the way our society has gone due to inequality, only jobs are left are the jobs that are really low-paying service jobs. So it's not completely the product of the student or the college. It's the way our society is going. Money's going up the top, and it's not leveling out at the bottom. So, because I think as I ask my students, if you had an opportunity where you could make a job making maybe $50 an hour, what would you do? Any job? Oh yeah, I don't want to be here. So a lot of it is that there aren't just jobs that they can make a decent living, so the path is left for them through school. My county, PG County, has the highest rate of human trafficking in the state of Maryland. I've had a number of students that have been sex trafficked, mainly for labor purposes. They come here from another country. Our school is 26% immigrants from West Africa, in the Middle East, and I've had 2 students that were what they refer to as labor trafficking. Their green card was taken, and they had to work for this family, and they barely could make it to class. But I contacted our local representative, and they took care of it. Commercialization of feelings. We talk a lot in my class about fronting. Irving Goffman referred to it as front stage and backstage, and that the main thing is you want students to, kind of integrate. And of course, we have the social construction reality, the rise of the closed mind. Thank you. All right. Transference, counter-transference, develop healthy boundaries, apples and oranges. I know there's some social work research, so I know you guys know what transference is, but if I can, I'd like to do a demonstration, if I can get a volunteer. Volunteer? Yeah. Think we can hop in there? Think I can get over that? Think I'm too old?
You can just pull the table apart right there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Right here.
And this is one of the biggest issues that I see in the classroom with students. So, and I'm going to have to set the stage a little bit. Okay. We are a married couple. And in my previous marriage, my wife cheated on me terribly. And the way she would do it, she would say, I'm working late. And that meant she was out with somebody else, okay? So we're gonna have a conversation. This is the here and now. So I'm passing it back and forth. Can you just add a little conversation with me?
And
Yeah.
I'm the cheating wife.
No, you're my second wife. You're my second wife.
You're the good
So
wife.
much fun. Okay, so I'm the second wife.
But you're not cheating on me, right?
Okay.
We're having a great time. We're communicating well,
Okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
We're talking, and then all of a sudden you tell me what about work? What do you say?
Oh, so busy at work, I gotta stay late.
Okay, and then where do I go? And we end up talking about apples and oranges, right? Yalom refers to it as the here and now and the there and then. Another word for this is called transference, and it's probably more common. Thank you. Transference is certainly depending on who you speak to, but some people think it only happens in the consulting room, but my experience is that it really happens everywhere. Mainly, and it happens mainly in the classroom, because as we all know as teachers, there's a power differential. And if you follow if any of you are familiar, and I didn't bring it, I should have, are familiar with the transactional analysis model, parents and teachers function almost inseparable. They play the same kind of role of an authority figure. And my students have all kinds of authority issues. And so that develops a transference. Okay, I thought I had, I guess I did, maybe I must have forgot that, but one of my famous quotes is from Mark Twain, who said, if all you have is a hammer, all your problems look like what? Nails. Most teachers only have a hammer. It's not their fault because they don't have more skills. I tell my students that I feel like an imposter because I'm not a real teacher. I don't have a real academic background. As you can tell, my background is clinical, working with people. So when you don't have more skills, you can only see a problem as, like, for example, I overheard a teacher talking last week to the student about why they didn't get the homework in on time. And the student was saying, well, my computer was down. And she said, but it was down for 6 hours. And this went back and forth. I went down the hall, did something, came back, and they were still talking. And obviously, the issue was a lot deeper than that. There was a lot more to that interaction, but because the teacher only had that one tool, all she could do was get into a power struggle with the student in terms of, your homework should have been turned in, and no matter what excuse that he said, it didn't matter. In general, our boundaries are crumbling mainly because we are under a lot of stress. Those of you are familiar with how the brain works. When we get under stress, the front part of our brain that does our critical thinking or does our reality testing starts to kind of go to sleep. And of course, what comes out is our midbrain, where we have the amygdala. Certainly, as a combat veteran, I'm real familiar with my amygdala, but unfortunately, it's been out way too much in my life. But He's okay. We're okay with him now. He's okay. All right. Oh. All right. And as I said, students do not fail because they are stupid. First, stupid is a label. Second, fail is a label. We all fall down. When we fall down, we need to get back up. Negative message from the past can cripple us in the present. And then, of course, we have the executive function of the brain. You know, my generation, some of you are my generation, we talked about IQ. If a student didn't do well in the class, well, they're supposed to have a low IQ. And of course, you know, and of course we've learned over the years that IQ means almost nothing. What means something is EQ. Everybody know what EQ is, right? And so, again, you know, we might want to call it critical thinking or awareness or self-reflection, but, you know, EQ is critical for students to be successful in today's world, where we have to interact with people from all over the world. And I know Dr. King spoke about Robert Sternberg, Howard Gardner. Dr. King, you remember the Grizzly Bears lunch story?
No.
Okay, two boys are going out camping. And the one boy is this exceptionally bright kid in class. He gets straight A's, even better than A's. He's academically gifted. The second kid is kind of a street kid. He does okay. So they come up upon a grizzly bear, right? I do a lot of hiking, and you know, the biggest fear is bears because bears are fast and they can climb trees. And so you gotta be careful, particularly at springtime. That's when they come out when they're hungry. So these two boys come up upon the bear, and the bear starts to run. So the boy that's exceptionally smart starts to calculate how fast it'll take before the bear gets to them. And he looks over, and the other kid's putting on his sneakers. He says, "Well, you can't outrun the bear." He says, "No, I just have to outrun you." The point being that intelligence is embedded in different contexts. There's no such thing as intelligence out of a context. It's like trying to unscramble eggs. Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, so how can a classroom teacher trained in Yalom's interaction group therapy approach become more effective in the classroom? All right. So I have a little YouTube. Maybe you can help me get that on. So I can show you Irvin Yalom. He likes to be called Irv. And so terrible with this.
The internet's kind of slow here. So
Okay.
we're gonna, which one is it?
It's this one right here. Yeah.
Is there an internet password?
And let me just say, if you haven't read it, I would encourage you to read his last book. Other than, you know, Yalom is retired now. He writes novels, but his last book is The Gift of Therapy. And I make all my students that's required reading. This is one of the clips from The Gift of Therapy where he's talking, so you can get to see him and see what he looks like.
Do we have
We have a sound.
Oh, the sound will come automatically, so. So you may have to copy and paste that into the browser. Control click.
When I knew Irv, he had a lot more hair and a lot darker. Unlike mine, I was a lot darker too. But
so
Control click. Okay. The sound will automatically come. You got to get to the YouTube site first, but you're not going to have sound until you open up YouTube.
sorry, you need to go back to the server. It should be on if it's plugged in. It's plugged in. It should be.
You may have to leave the PowerPoint.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, well, I don't know where you are because it's not showing here. So, I'm not sure what happened. Okay, so it's not showing there. Are you, okay.